audio.
Okay, okay.
It's so funny how all the videos I make, people complain about the screen sharing, and like it's only text. And they don't understand that it's mostly because I'm actually respecting the people that I'm with, which is really funny. God, people are funny. Okay, all right, here we go. Tell me about your name, please.
My name is Priya Salamat. But I also have a nickname. My nickname is Eve. My nickname is come from, my nickname has a basic from the name of the first woman of the world because I am the first daughter of my family. That's why my dad and my mom created this name for me. And most interesting thing, all of their choice have a name that refer to the Bible, people in Bible, like my brother named Earth. Earth means the earth that woman in the Bible live, and Earth is the name of a rice of the world. So our names try to relate between each other.
Oh, good. That was such a good answer. Okay, all right. Next, background.
Now I'm 23. I graduated first. I have a postgrad degree from Untitled School, which is the girls' school, and I graduated from law school. So my bachelor is concerning about business law. But also in the next few months, I have planned to study further in the in specialist area of the law, which is technology law. It's concerns about AI law and cybersecurity crimes.
Wow. Okay, hobbies and interests.
Interviews. Usually I have a hobby is jogging every weekday. I usually spend time on the jogging about 1 hour, and I will go to the park near my house. It is located. It's the distance between my house and the park is around 1.3 kilo, and then I will jogging at the park around 5 kilometer, and then come back into my house, which is around 1.3. So all distance that I usually run is around 7.8 kilometer per day that I did. And
Oh, wait.
I confuse. Yeah, sorry. I
Oh, no.
confuse that hobby and interest is the same thing, right? Because it's a hobby is an activity that I interest, right?
That would
And
be
I did
how
talk
it's.
about it.
Yeah, if you define a hobby, it would be a recreational activity or skill-based activity that you do outside of work, education, and personal life, I guess. Well, it would be part of your personal life. And then interests, though, interests would be like traveling, like because you can't really say that your hobby is traveling. I mean, you can, right?
Mm-mm.
But interest would be much more appropriate, right?
Yep.
You're hitting the 7 band in all these answers, Eve, right? It's really, really good. 7.5 on some, eight plus on a couple of them, right? So it's good. Okay, moving on. We have here close. All right, close. So remember, like the samples that you've seen, keeping it organized, structured, but going with the flow. Okay, you have your option
Okay.
like in your mind, what you're thinking about inside your mind is like, am I preparing a part one answer? Am I preparing a part two answer? Am I preparing a part three answer? Right. And then that's just scope it out for a couple seconds before you go in, which will help.
Okay.
Right. I know it seems a
Okay.
little random where I say like you have 30 seconds, 2 minutes to talk on something, but it's another filter though, right? Because of the objective.
Okay.
All right, cool. Okay. All right. So talking about close.
Um, I usually prefer to wear white shirts in my everyday use because it's easy to wear and it's suit for every situation. And but sometimes I have to dress up a formal shirt because I have to go to the exam test, and the exam decoration require me to wear a suitable shirt. Or however, many people in my country try to likely to dress informal because our country doesn't have any restriction on the shirt or clothes that we have to always wear formal when go out. But the most interesting thing that some culture festival, some traditional culture of Thailand allow Thai people to wear Thai suits that create unique to our people.
I'm done. Oh, smooth. Okay, I like how you went through the category. It's good. Just to remember your emphasis of calm, relaxed, and clear, right? Practice that too, right? I know that the feeling with coffee, the morning, the tone and vibe I set is like hurry, hurry, you know, right? But remember, yeah. But remember, you can't let me affect you too much, you know. Same thing with anybody else, right? It's normal to feed off the energy of the people that are around you, right? And that's why people say you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? However, I also think that sometimes in a setting, you're on an island and you're standing on that island by yourself, you know, and like you got to stand up, you know, and then that's where there's a lot of things happening that will affect your communication style. But sometimes you just got to take it back a notch and be like, you know,
Yeah.
It's good. Okay. All right. Cool. Moving on. Quick answers. Shopping. It's going to be either like discussion or part 1. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good. All right. Talking on shopping.
I
Try not to
usually
say
shopping. And okay, so you speak Q&A, right?
Yep. Try not to say no. This is where try not to say is 1. 2 is that when I put these keywords out, what I understand inside of my mind is that on the test, it threads out pretty expansively, but in expected scopes, right? So right here is a quick list that I've created where the scope of reports from students whenever they take the test and we ask them, what did they ask you, right? Generally tends to stay inside of these scopes here, right? In these categories. Right. And so you have lots of different types of questions that are connected to these keywords, right? And then you just adapt based on whatever they ask you, right? So that's right now as an exercise, I'm kind of just giving you minimal cues, right? And then you have your freedom to choose where to go with it.
Okay.
Cool. So talking about shopping, where to begin? And then try not to say, so hard, right? I have to think about it to not do it. It sucks.
Yep. It's important to don't talk about shopping. I confused it. I should talk about shopping or not talk about shopping.
Okay, here's like I love this one. I love this question. This one sometimes surprises the most prepared test taker. Okay, all right. It's where the most prepared test taker, let's just generalize here and stereotype a bit. Okay.
Yeah.
It's somebody who's really smart. They go to school, they have goals, they spend a lot of time at home, and then last couple of years it's mostly online and trying to be productive on the computer, right? So I'm a kind of person that I just spend almost 0 time shopping, right? You know, I'm old, and so like whenever I go somewhere, I have a pretty clear target of what I'm going there to buy, you know. And then the only place that I like doing shopping is going to be where I go to like DIY stores or like kitchen stores now, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where the best tips for any prepared speaker for the Ielts exam would be: think about just explaining your preferences, right? Think about you're not required to create a model answer where like your brain gives you what consumerism has given you, which is the image of a person who can shop till they drop and they love it, you know, right? And like some people are that kind of people, you know, but most of us aren't. You know. So
yeah.
you don't have to be that kind of lady talking about this, you know, like you explain preferences. You can sync it up with clothes as well, right? That's where like you talk about your preferences and the kind of clothes that you like, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, so here, this is where we have clothes, style, comfort, and preferences would be extended keywords, right? Preferences. And that would help you on this topic because, like, again, whenever somebody asks me a question, my brain kind of just goes and then tries to look for keywords, right? And then you kind of search for whatever you need. Before, it used to be like more human. My brainstorming used to be a little bit more human, I think. But now my brainstorming starts to, I try to mimic what the computer is doing, right? But then still have my own style of thinking and organization, right? But keywords are real, right? It makes a big difference. Okay, cool. All right. So one more time here, you're taking about 10, 20, 30 seconds to think about how would I map out talking on shopping, right? And then whenever you're ready, you go. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Most interested part that I very addict is the time that I spend with my mom. Usually I spend time on shopping with my mom every Sunday. Because I am the only daughter of my family, and it is a habit of the mother and daughter likely to spend time together. We usually spend time on the clothes store or sometimes in the restaurant, delicious restaurant. And we have a lot of discussion and we talking a lot when we shopping. I think it's improve our relation. Is try to create a good relation between daughter and mother.
Strong. Okay. All right. Good. I have to give you some quick feedback too, right? Like when we first started doing these exercises, you had the guidelines of how you were supposed to create your responses. But now I love the self-control in knowing when you're going to end, right? That's a very powerful thing. It's good. It's good. It's part of being on that island. Okay.
Okay, good.
Okay. Good. All right. So the internet, oh my God, has so many different subsets for the IELTS test, right? When they ask you a bunch of questions. Just a quick overview, right? Is they ask
Okay.
you stuff like what kind of websites do you visit? What is your communication style? Do you prefer text over email? Do you call anybody anymore? What do you think people use the internet for? What do you use it for? And it's just all of those different main points, right? But to simplify it, right? To simplify it, I just go into like, A, what do you use it for and why, right? B, what are the macro level thoughts you have on the internet, right? And then number three would be, what are your personal daily, like trackable actions that are happening on the internet, and then that will give you evidence or support for like whatever you have to answer.
Okay.
Cool. Right. So like, yeah, it goes from like big, I guess, to little. On the micro one, what I imagine is that if there were a really, really, really dedicated Google employee, right, he could pretty much understand what I'm doing every second of the day, right?
Yep.
Okay, when I'm working, okay, or like when I'm online, right? Okay, so Eve about to talk on the internet, right? You're taking time to map it out, right? Deciding which part is it for? Do you want to make it a short response, a medium response? Are you going to make like a speech on a box? Go ahead. Think. Mhm.
Internet becomes become popular around 20 15 years ago, and then my life is more comfortable. I usually use the internet for control many devices in my room through the Alexa. Sometimes I surfing on the internet as a hobby, and I have some of my hobby related to the internet, which is Instagram, the application that you use as a method to post the picture on the application. So it's undeniable that internet become more dependent, more it's internet become more internet become internet play an important role to our life nowadays. I think it is hard to say that not much people use internet, because nowadays our life depend a lot on internet. And I think the most advantage is potentially allow us to easily to communicate together through the Facebook applications or Twitter. And yeah, it reduce some kind of paper waste as is allow us to text the email through the email without using the printing or any paper and send the letter. More than that advantage, it's quite take a few minutes to send the letter to the receiver.
All right, make me a nice conclusion.
Yep.
Make me a nice conclusion. Oh, make me.
Okay. Yeah, it is undeniable. Yes, it in conclusion. No, I don't want to be very easy sentence. And it is very interesting to follow up the development of internet world. And yes, internet is also leading to the advanced technology phases. So many people will depend more on the internet in the future.
Okay. All right, good. That was where it was strong in the beginning when you were framing out your thought, and then it's like I got the feeling where, oh my God, I've never had to give a speech on the internet in like this wide scope, right? And I feel you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then asking for the conclusion, that was all right. There's another sub labor as well. One thing you're going to want to start training yourself on is that the person in front of you has a poker face most of the time, right? Their reactions are not always what you expect. And again, one part of being on the island, and one thing that you and I do, is that sometimes we don't look at the person, sometimes we look away, or we're just talking, or sometimes we just listen, right? And like try not to look at their face because it's confusing, right? Sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like I get confused when a person's body language doesn't match the words they're saying, or their body language doesn't match them actually understanding what I say, right? So the sublayer factor to work on here is that think about the common public speaking advice from a long time ago, is that you try to imagine everybody in the audience is naked, right? And then you're the only one with clothes, right? And that's one thing that helps. Or another strategy is people, they sit and they talk to another person on the stage. And so it's a lot easier to speak publicly, So when I find these kinds of interactions with two people, especially when there's an examiner with a poker face, right, is that I'm trying not to react on whatever is being presented with their body language, right? And it's that I'm just kind of centering myself. And one of the easiest ways to do it is just going to be look away and talk, right? And I know that's not always good because they do like eye contact as well, right? So you're playing around with this. It's that the main point though is that you're really trying to center yourself away from what this does to you, right?
Okay.
And that's going to be very helpful in any setting, right? In any setting there, right? Because I find it to be incredibly confusing, right? Some of the, yeah. I won't go into any examples. Okay, all right. Let's see. Let's do internet again, right? Let's do internet one more time here, but let's outline it a little bit, okay? All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about here what it is to me, what it represents. professional points on internet and tech. Then we have conclusion less than 10 words. So now we're trying a little bit of a different format that's updated. I don't normally do outlines like this, but I found that it does help me a lot, right?
Yeah.
Doing the speech before, because I don't really give a lot of speeches, and I've just been doing that more, and I've always complained about prep, or I always have lots of different things happening, so I try to make that more efficient. But there's lots of value to being reproy and prepared, right? Yeah. So let's hybridize those concepts. It's that you're trying to create reproy stuff on the go before you need to do it. Right. Okay. So this is Eve talking on the internet, what it is to me, what it represents, maybe some professional points like law, internet, technology, stuff from your SOP, right? Just a few portions, right? And then the conclusion, I got to write less than 10 words. For speaking, it's so different than writing. With writing, you got about like 50 words or so to make a decent conclusion, right?
Yeah.
In real life, you already lost your audience by like 20 words into it. They already lost those sentences almost. So I find the shorter the concluding sentence in public speaking or speaking, the better, right? But up to you now, right? Up to you, because people like Kyle, they have a very long flow, and like it's good for them to get it out, and it's a beautiful thing, really. It's just different. You just choose which one's good for you. I'm writing the numbers, right? And like it's where I'm writing attention spans. I'm looking at what most people are like these days. What's the level of communication abilities? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Internet is one tool of my life that make my life more easier. I usually use internet as a delivery of my organ. My hobby, most of my hobby, using internet to do, and it provide convenience to me a lot. I can text to my friend within a few hours, and I think not only me but also people around the world as well. And it is undeniable that nowadays internet becomes more and more important to people's life. And the interesting thing is that nowadays can commit through the internet. Many people Many people are thieved their information by the hacker through the internet, and they lost thousands of million baht. So nowadays, law, internet, and technology have a real correspond core that they relate together. That's why it's necessary to update our regulation related to the internet nowadays. Today.
All right. And then I'm going to add a concluding sentence. Okay. Those are my thoughts on the internet as a law student.
Those are the thoughts of on the internet.
Let me write it here. Oh, I'll write it down right here. Let's see here. Those are my thoughts. Those are my
thoughts on the internet.
As a lawyer, or then we could say law student. Or you could even say paralegal. What I'm trying to say is anything here. Okay, all right, cool. That's the point there. I like this conclusion. I know I get a lot of complaints on oversimplification. I do, but on the other side of it too is that sometimes the delivery, as well as maybe dropping in a couple of like fancy transitions in here, I suppose, if you feel comfortable, right? But
yeah.
The real reason I was inspired on this is that I think about what people complain about when they're listening to somebody in one side, and this is the Stoic philosopher in me. And it's that when a person, like if you were starting to talk about the internet and somebody asked you like a general question about the internet, and then you went into professional points on the law, right? And you went into like hacking and all those points, right? And then the thing that seals it all nicely together right? Like why that
Yeah.
person by now is probably wondering, why is she talking about this? You know, right? If they don't know you well, right? If they don't know you well. And so at that point, that's where you have this nice, beautiful, clean conclusion. And they're like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. And then they're ready to go on to the next question. You see?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, good.
Yeah.
So that's where you have your little bit of a template, or like I call these things word equations. Um, Word equations, because if I could, I would much rather, no, not much rather. I enjoy teaching math sometimes more than teaching English, right? So the word equation is, those are my thoughts on topic as a title, right? And then we have upgraded version, as you have adverb. Those are my thoughts on. This is over, but I'm just gonna stick it here anyway. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Those are my thoughts on the topic. Okay. As a adjective. All right. So you see how something simple can get upgraded based on everything that you've been learning with grammar, your higher level English abilities, communication abilities, spatial thinking related to law, right? It's going to be where you can see how it gets upgraded, and you start adding like maybe 30 words to it almost if you really expanded it all out, you know? Right. So that's the process of that. And you can choose which ones you like. I like how you have catchphrases, like it's undeniable, it's going to be good, but you want to only drop those like once or twice. Right. And then
Okay.
here you have like a little repertoire of them. Repertoire. Right. So I like teaching a lot in metaphors. I'm sorry, but it's really effective. So, the first one is that the key word is repertoire, which is a French word. Um, all right. Now, a repertoire traditionally is a stock of plays, dances, pieces that accompany a performer knows and is prepared to perform. Right. Then you have here a whole body of items which are regularly performed, or a stock of skills or types of behavior that a person habitually uses. So it's all of these concepts together now, right? Where you got level one, what it was back in the day, right? A little bit more broad, and then pretty much what it's used as now. Okay. Right. And then over here, the best metaphor is going to be, every sentence is one of these, right? And like it depends on your organization, and like, but the analogy is that you have to go to war or do some action, and then you got to pick only what you can really carry, right? And that represents what your brain can think of in that moment, you know?
Okay.
Yep. And so know your weapon, right? Right. Right. And then the other one is that it's a wardrobe, right? And so you have all of these in there ready. Right now you got, it is undeniable, that is one, right? It is undeniable, undeniable. Commonly thought. And these would be the three that I just give you now. I think these are ones that you really know all the words already, just have
Yeah.
to build the habit and then put them on the post-it note if you can,
Okay.
it's commonly thought that, and then it's something you're complaining about. um,
Yeah.
in general, and then you're making that generalization, right? After that, that's where you go into however more specifically. I like this a lot,
Mhm.
Um, it's all about being able to categorize effectively with your words, right? That's what gets people to understand and clarify. Clear?
Clear.
All right, cool. All right, now on the category of sports, physical activity, exercise, and health, let's take a quick break. I have to use the restroom real quick.
Okay.
All right, just a moment, Kev.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Okay, Yvonne,
Yeah.
physical activity, exercise, and health.
Yep. Okay. My favorite hobby is jogging. So I usually spend time around 1 hours and hours in every my weekday on jogging at the park near my house, which quite different from my friends' favorite hobby, sport. Most of my friends usually do an activity which is Pilates or the at one hotel. They will do exercise together except me because it's not correspond that sport not correspond with my interest. But even though we don't do the exercise together, our health still good because we exercise and we reduce the strain, we reduce the fat that we eat from the food. So anyway, the government showed I think it's like really so anyway, I think people health will be good if they exercise.
Oh, you got your nice conclusion. Okay, all right. Oh, moving straight on. Okay, talking about going out, right? Real quick prep. Going out includes food, restaurants, dining, excursions, museums, concerts, that kind of thing. Mhm.
Okay. Um
Don't say
going out is my going out is one of my routine. Sometimes I usually going out when I have a lot of free time. But anyway, when I was young, that is around 2 years when I was when I was a postgrad student, I usually go out with my friend every day because I want to be gathering. And when we go out, we learn a lot. We spend time together and we can play and get a lot of funny things, do a lot of funny things together. But now, me and my friend usually going out for dinner and discuss about my life, try to support together and try to give a recommend to the topic that we talk. So like many major people, we try to going out for a weekend, meet some friends, and then come back and do our life, run on our life, and it's very useful to release our strength, our strength for that create because of we live a life. We do work a lot of tasks in my daily life.
Okay, all right. Don't sound like you're dying at the end. Say that part again.
Okay. Yes, I think going out is a hobby. Is a one way that can allow people to release that strength that creates and accumulate from their workings.
Good. All right. I'm sorry to distract you. I know it's distracting, all the different things. Like, well, you think like this too, though. Okay. Right. You have multiple, most people do actually, right? They just don't really write it. But like it's where you have, like, I'll explain what was happening for me. It was where I was thinking about what you were saying. I was trying to categorize it with keywords, knowing that that was something that I had to type. The other part was just one frequent error to work on so that it will improve your score, right? Because it's easy to hear, unfortunately. It's going to be whenever you adverb, right? Adverb of frequency, always go infinitive after, right? When I go, right? When I usually go, I usually sing. Let's see here. What would be the best scenario to think about it? All right. A really, really annoying, bad, stupid, proud guy comes up to you and says, like, I'm taking you out on a date and we're gonna do something, right? And then you say, I usually reject that guy. Right? And then I was thinking that it's those first three words, right? Those first three words, which is you, right? And then your usually or your adverb, right? And then the next one after that is going to be always infinitive, right?
Okay.
Yeah, always infinitive. Sometimes I want to say usually going out is tough, right? And that's okay to use the ing as a subject, the gerund as a subject, but yeah, don't overthinking it though. All right, don't overthink it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not overthinking it. It's just replacing it with a simple answer, right? That's what Albert Einstein was always talking about when he said every expert was once a beginner, right? Or he also said, right, if you can't explain it simply, then you don't know it well enough, right? But that's too negative. It's more, if you know it well enough, you can explain it simply. Right? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, moving on here. Just taking a look at this stuff here, right? You have categorization, going out. You have frequency that you hit. Purpose is good. Location was great. You can talk about the venue, which you did a little bit, and then you wrapped up with opinion and analysis. Right, so that's nice.
Okay.
Logical mark. Okay, all right. Now that would be food. I think yes, they will talk about food. There's also keywords here: local versus international. I've heard this a lot in people asking about it. So let's do one devoted to food. Okay, devoted to food. And you're imagining that the guy or the lady or the examiner has asked you, do you prefer local food? Do you enjoy international food? Why? What do you think about international cuisine? Do you like ordering versus going out? That stream of questions. Okay. All right. And then take your time, right? Take your time, and then don't start with, right? I'm trying to tell myself too.
Okay.
There was another guy in another meeting. He was like, I counted how many times you said that, and I was like, okay.
Local food and local food and international food, both are my favorite dish. Anyway, however, my favorite restaurant that I frequently goes is international restaurant, which is Italian restaurant near my house. It is Philip Philip restaurant. It's cook French cuisine. It's have a pretty taste, and the most favorite dish is pigeon steak. They try to cook. They have a really sour sauce mixed together with the fried pigeon meat, and then I never find. I think none of restaurant in Thailand can cook this meal delicious. It's delicious. Can cook this meal really well. But I used to try the this meal in Hong Kong was when I was shy, but I still can't remember what the taste is. So I prefer. So I think next time that I will visit Hong Kong, I will find a restaurant and try it again.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Oh, moving straight into it. Now, imagine that they asked you, what's the subject you enjoyed studying in school? What's your favorite subject? An academic question.
Mm, yep. Okay. My favorite course in my when I was a student in my high school is a cooking class because our teacher tried to provide a free class for us that they don't specifically try to specifically the meal that we have to cook, but we can decide the meal that we want to cook. Like for me, I think I remember that I cooked pad thai as a meal for teacher, and yeah, I got a great recommend from my professor, my teacher, and she said it is delicious. But anyway, got a I got a I got a receipt from my mom. Yes.
That's your conclusion?
Yep. And I think yeah, it's it.
That's it.
It's
Okay. 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 All right.
That's
Good.
it.
Okay. And those are the things I got from my mom. You sure?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that, yeah. I think no. Okay. Anyway. I really love the time that I spent for in that cooking class.
Good. Or I mean, if you mentioning your mom is great. Gratitude to her, gratitude for her, or whatever she did is good too. Whenever you're giving appreciation to people, I found that adding for is helpful, right? Like, so for something, right? So some detail, and then finishing on that as opposed to the person. But this is just me being OCD, okay?
Okay.
Okay, all right. Minor mag. Okay, all right, moving on. Okay, we have historical places. This stream of questions is generally, what's a historical monument in your country? Why? Is it a cultural landmark? Do people like to see it a lot? Do many people visit it? What's the historical significance of it? This surprises a lot of people too, right?
Okay.
And it's just because, I guess, like, when people think about history as a subject in school, in general, maybe people think that's like, lots of people love it though, right? So events, significant things. On the Stanford application, they asked, what's a historical moment you wish you could have witnessed, right? And that's where it would be an example of the higher level requirements you're satisfying for your applications, dumbed down and adapted for Ielts testing.
Yep.
All right, cool. Okay, so talking about historical places.
There are a lot of in historical, which is a really interesting place in my country, which is Thailand. But one of the historical that I used to visit is the oldest temple in Ayutthaya. It is still we still unspoiled that temple, and it has a nice view. I spent around 1 day in the temple with my mom because my mom and other people as well was influenced by the favorite Thai series, which is a Bupe Saniwat, and they took that location as a place that they live, so that when my mom want to visit that red temple, and a few years after that movie, and many people visit that temple because they want to be like in the movie. In At the end, I think really it's a good way to encourage people to remind to the historical page because it's quite created for a long time and still have a beautiful view.
Okay, very nice. All right, we're going into it. This is marathoning. Okay, here we go. The next stream, right? Next category. That will be art.
Okay.
museums, artwork, creativity. Those will be keywords inside of there, right? I like creativity as an add-on for any question connected to art, right? So you can answer the question, and then after that, go into your personal views on creativity, right? As your conclusion, maybe, or syncing them both up together at the end, and then nice and done. Okay.
Nowadays, people try to nowadays people frequently visit more on the art gallery, and Thailand also rise a lot of exhibition around past few years ago, and I rarely visit to art gallery because I have a problem when I look into the picture or the art that they display in front of me. I don't know what they want to imply to me. So that's why I don't want to go to the gallery. I think because I am the left brain person, so I don't understand much on creativity. I usually try to use the logic and analyze everything. I think many people like me who have exercise much on the right brain side will have problem on the creativity in the art product. Yeah.
Okay, conclusion.
Okay.
Great. That was,
I,
go ahead.
I would like to, I would like to argue, did you are the people who exercise much on the right hand, left hand, left brain side or right hand side, right brain side, left or right?
Okay, wait. Before I answer that, let me focus on your outcome and
Okay.
your feedback on your speech. Okay,
Okay.
it was an excellent adaptation of adding your personal views and just being cool with it, you know, and owning it. Okay, the other one is going to be an extension, all right, on creativity. You are being creative when you. Sorry, let me go backtrack a little bit. People misunderstand the definition of creativity, right? So first starting with the definition of it. In my opinion, the word creativity is rooted in the word create, right? And so create to me would be to make something from nothing or make something from other things, right? So that would be either a combination process, an assembling process, a step-by-step, linear, chronological, spatial, categorical, whatever really, okay? And so the next extension here is that I believe a lawyer is being creative when they extrapolate all the logical ways that a situation can finish or what a person needs to do, right? Like, for example, you and I are robbing a bank. How should we exit, right? Now there's a security guard coming at us. What are our options, right? And that's being creative, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's where you kind of remove it from art, right? And what the societal definition in some places is of art, which is painting something, drawing something, or whatever. But nowadays, you can call so many different things art. And then if you do a book search on the art of, right, you will find so many keywords and they're very, very, very ranged, you know, right? So that's that concept of an expansion on what you think of art and creativity. And when you move forward in your career, just as a personal comment and feedback, is that you are being creative when you're creating something that you need to do, right? And your options and everything that you're imagining for it. So yeah, you don't have to beat yourself up on that, right? Your creativity
Okay.
has manifested itself in a different way. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, sounds good. Okay, talking about the past here, right? This one I would recommend trying to select a memory on the fly, right? And then describing it. Oh no, Google Drive is full. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. You're talking about a memory, you're brainstorming for that, and then I gotta check my Google Drive. That's that.
I think the memory is always remind me was the memory was I'm dropping into the water at the hotel when I was 3 years old. It's because it creates really really I think the last time of your life memory. If I don't have the lifeguard nearby, I think I would die at that time. And I still remind that because every situation and every event and that especially that event can happen on you every time. Like I think it's only few minutes that I dropping into the fall water because there was a slip fall into the water. But you know that the water does not tall much. It range around 50 meters, but the 4 years old girl's tall is quite short. So anything can happen on your children if you don't catch your eye on them. And fortunately, after I come back, my mom, my mom very really this very sad on her and feel not good that she let me drop into water, and then she bring me to learn a swimming course around 2 years for be a professional in swimming. So this is the memory that remind me for a long time.
Oh, that was such a good memory. Oh my God. All right. That was really
It's
nice.
not a good. I
No,
drop
no,
into water.
no, well, okay. When I say good memory, like I say it because I'm just focused on the job right now, which is gonna be like like we have a project, and our goal is to give really good articulation of topics, and that's why I say good memory. But well, like one quick comment I'll make is that like I know I should be more concerned at like learning the story. It's weird. My brain is very strange. And one thing I'll say here is that I'm listening to this story. I'm thinking about how good it is and the way that it's told. I know it's a negative event, and then I also know that you're here standing with me. And if that one ended badly, right, then you wouldn't be here. Right?
Yeah.
I already like skipped to the end of that where it's like, okay, she survived, and then she's
Yeah.
part of it, and I'm just focusing on the delivery of the story, and that's great, that's great. That's the good thing. It also taught you something, and you got stronger after that. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. All right. Yeah. Sometimes hard events, they do make us, like one thing I'll remind you that I told you before when we were writing, it was something that African Americans have been saying for a long time. They say strong men breed good times breed weak men, something like that. Weak men breed men, and then strong men breed good times, and that, or something about like weak men bring on bad times. Yeah, it was that whole connection of like generations of strong and weak men, and then good times, bad times, good times, bad times. Uh, but yeah, so you have that connection of your past memories, building who you are, and then using that to help your selection process when somebody is asking you a question.
Yep.
Yeah, and that would be more transferable to like interview, moments where first impressions and what you say in a couple minutes is kind of important. Okay, cool. All right, nice. Next, moving on, they will sometimes talk about friendship, sometimes here it comes up. It came up a lot in like the Toastmasters prompts, and one quick perspective on all of this is that if you think about statistical analysis, and then you have access to like asking 100 different people a question or seeing what kind of questions they ask in like a year, right? And then mentally you're kind of tracking which ones like pop up more often than not, right? And then which ones are more rare. And what I found is that people asking about friendship, what friends are, dating, those kinds of things, it pops up a lot, they tend to discuss it quite a bit. So if you had to talk on friendships, relationships, people, but understanding they won't ask you about dating, okay, right? They won't
Okay.
really ask you about dating. It would be like a small comment on like Tinder or dating or whatever, up to you, you know? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Cool. All right. Taking a moment to prepare and compose yourself, right? And then getting that nice, strong, clean opening, right? Always.
Okay. I'm a sociable person. All of my friends, all of my close friends, I really, I have known him for more than 7 years. Um, I really respect and appreciate with our time that we spend together. When I fall in many times, they always give energy to me through their advice or comment. Even they are not say anything, they still be beside me. When I cry, they sit beside me without speak anywhere. And all of these things create our strong friendship. And I promise that I will not leave them if they have a problem. I will try to take care of all of that problem that they face together with him. Although I didn't have a knowledge or sometimes I don't talk much when they face a problem, but I really want to help them, but I don't know what the way that I can help. So the best thing that I made a decision that for them is I will be beside them all of their life. Yep.
Strong. Oh, so good. The opening and the ending, everything in the middle. It was nice and smooth. The composure was very strong, right? Good job. Right. That was really, really quite good. That was a band-aid answer, right? That was okay. Composure, getting it is really powerful for you, right? Remember Kobe Bryant, the fake Kobe Bryant gif, where it's the basketball, right? And he's just like, right? It's not real. Remember, the angles are like this, and he's actually a lot
Yeah.
farther from me, but the GIF is so beautiful. Right? Okay. Right. Awesome. Okay. The last one here for this category of questioning is going to be society in any scope or form, right? They will ask you about society in so many different ways, but most of it is relatively general, right? And then you can kind of adapt it to whatever you want to say. With this outline here, God, Paul, don't say okay, society in X, Y, and Z. How would I open it up?
Mm,
Start with the micro. Micro would be my place in it. My place in it as a humble person. And then I go into community. Community here is hopes for impact. Impact here. And then if we go macro, macro is going to be lots of things happening, lots of things happening. Try to do my thing little by little. These are the quick little notes that I would write for myself if I were giving a speech on society, right? Just because there's no, when people ask you questions, sometimes it's very, very open, you know,
yeah.
or it's really specific, and then you can go open, right? Like either or really, right? And then here, bring it back to what I did today. Okay. And that's kind of how I would conclude it, just nice and round, right? You can try following it,
Yeah.
experiment with it, go for it. Okay.
Okay. Um, in my society, I'm kind of sociable person. I like to enjoy meet greeting meeting person in
Sorry, 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 sorry to stop you. Okay, all right. We're gonna pick a different word than sociable. You're gonna think about the sentence right now
okay.
and then say it.
Mm, 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 mm. Society nowadays contains different characteristics of people. Um, I really enjoy to meet those kind of people, and I really enjoy to meet that kind of people because it's around me to learn the characteristics of each people, and yeah. So sometimes society is a factor that create tolerance in some children. Like it sometimes we try to put the negative standard or thought to the children living in the same society. Like we try to discriminate people by based on their skin, and it will disappoint and it is a insult the people other people appearance. So this kind of thing shall receive the resolution and collection by the people in the community. I had to copy.
Okay, but then it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Like, again, there are not a lot of opportunities that somebody asks you to speak on society in English, right? And so this is an opportunity, right? Very good. I like how, and the only reason I interrupted you in the beginning was we're not going to try to recycle what we use for another one, right? Because you
Yeah,
have,
I know.
it's okay, right? And then you have the sentence creation that goes on in your head is faster than the way that it comes out in your speech, right? And
Yep.
that's a factor that you can look at as you're planning your sentence, you know. And then when you deliver it, you're trying to read it. It's tough, you know. It's a skill to develop, but maybe it's not a skill though too, because like I look at people like Kyle, and he speaks in very, very long, complex sentences, right? And then
Yeah.
at the end of it though, if I ask him to repeat what he said, right, he can't, right? He can only mention like keywords about it, right? You know, so there's the question in your mind where we say, do you have to plan it all out? And then it comes out like that. And then does that lead to doing it like he does? Or is there something that we're missing here because the recall is different, you know? Right? I don't know. Okay, all right, cool. So yes, if you're talking about society, I think you're good with this template. It's that you have micro, community, and then trying to conclude. Right, that was the
Yep.
flow. All right, that was good. Okay, moving on into descriptions very quickly here. Okay.
Okay.
Dun 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 dun. All right, when we do these here, we're gonna go with let's try to plan 3 sentences to say, right? About 3 sentences to say for each degree, right? Or each layer.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll give you a quick example here, okay? I'll plan some of them because I've done some of this before. Okay, self, husband, dad, teacher, and someone who's trying to achieve financial independence, working hard. Okay, room.
Okay.
Now more conducive for workshops and teaching online. I love it. I think it's an interesting room that represents me. My house is strategically placed close to my school and public transportation on factors from a few years ago. It's a townhome of 3 floors and it's comfortable. It's a good first home, right? My neighborhood is a quiet one with lots of single family residences. Across the street are some other types of apartments and other types of housing. And we're close to a very busy street as well. It's quite dense here. Hometown, I can discuss my hometown, but in this case, I'm just going to discuss Bangkok, right? Keeping it logical. My hometown is one of the densest places, most densely populated places on the planet. And I love the hustle and bustle of, I wish the air were better, right? That was all of that. Moving on here. Oh yeah, I guess hometown would be where you came from, right? Town would be
House.
city that I just described. The region is humid and hot and deeply jungle forestation. There are so many different ways to go, cultural aspects, and it is undeniable that it's a tourist region for many places. Right? The country of Thailand, in my opinion, is one of the best places to live. The people are kind and sweet, and they don't look at your everything too much. They want to just let you live and be let alone. Yeah. For the region of Southeast Asia, I would call it an up and coming area. it's amazing because it's been a red ocean of e-commerce and development over the last 20 years or so. And it keeps on getting more and more and more. I suspect that Africa is going to be like this, and it's going to change how international politics and business work together, right?
Okay.
For this hemisphere, right? There are a lot of different mixed opinions on China and Asian influence in the world. It depends on who you talk to. In one sense, a majority of the human population, 60% Asian. So that makes it the majority population. And in some places, they're still treated like a minority, right? When you look at the global population. So it's hard to say, really. I wouldn't really go into much more detail on politics or strategy here. On the planet Earth, I love the concept of being space cowboys hurtling on a rock through space indefinitely in this crazy universe. And I wonder what it's going to be like to be able to go somewhere else. I hope I can experience it in some way, or I can be part of it in some way. And I think that's why it's cool to make like a bunch of video, right? And then maybe some random person on a space station or like some other planet. Wow, I don't know, that'd be weird. Okay, all right. Okay, yes. So you get the idea, right? You get the idea.
Yep.
The theme that I introduced to you at the beginning of this whole workshop, where it's that topics now are kind of like a Reddit configuration for a human brain, and it's more beautiful in its brain and more personalized, right?
Okay.
Okay, all right. Do your thing.
Okay.
Don't say
Okay.
If you say it means you think about what you're going to say.
Okay. Punctuality is one of my trails, and I really love to eat. I'm really careful when I eating a food. I care a lot of ingredients. My room is quite busy. I have my room. Then on the question sentence, what we now is a room, right? Okay. My room is more busier when I buy a new dog. Anyway, my room is more busier when I bring my dog into my room, and all of my room is decorated in the real wood. So that's why I have my room is quite provide a cozy sense to the when I was living, and I can effective when I'm working in the room. All of my neighborhoods are my family, so I feel comfortable to living with my neighborhood. Sometimes I can't go directly to visit them every time I want. My hometown is Bangkok, which is the city of Thailand. It contains a lot of delicious food, and it have a lot of interesting place which is unspoiled in Bangkok. And my parent is still Bangkok. Yeah, my parents is Bangkok, and my parent is Bangkok, and it is the one of the province of province of Thailand is that people who live in usually face with the traffic jam. We stuck in on the roads around 2 hours when it's water raining. And my country is Thailand. My country is Thailand. I really lucky to born that I was born in this place because I go up with the kind people, kind and considerate people, and really fortunate. Fortunately, we have a lot of food that sell 24/7, and then my region is Asian region. The best thing is we try to help each other and try to cooperate our economy together. We increase the economic power to negotiate to the Western country. And the best thing is we have the same culture with the Chinese culture. As atmosphere, I think half of atmosphere of the world is influenced by Chinese culture, like the Asian hemisphere. A lot of culture related to Chinese culture. We also have Chinese New Year culture every year. And I think Western other culture, especially Western culture, also influenced from the Asian and Chinese culture as well, because many people immigrate to the other hemisphere. My Earth's temperature is increasing every year because of pollution create that people create through the waste or the substance that they use. So the natural resource of the earth are decreasing every year, and it is the need our collaboration to protect the environment of the earth. Yes.
Yes, good conclusion. Oh, that's a great conclusion. Oh my God. Wow, you did it. Oh my God, you did it. Look at that. Okay, all right, all right. Wow. Okay, if I were you, I would be going like this right now. Okay, all right, because
Yeah.
on a Tuesday morning, right? On a Tuesday morning in Bangkok, you went through name, background, hobbies, interests, clothes, formal, informal, shopping, clothes, style, comfort, preferences, the internet, uses, habit, preferences, media, film, impact, conclusion, word equations, upgraded version, repertoire. It is undeniable that, however, more specifically, sports, frequency, adverbs, food, education, historical places, art, museums, the past, friendship, society, micro, community, macro, what I did today, self, my room, my house, no breathing. My neighborhood, my hometown, my city, my province, my country, my region, my hemisphere, my earth, right? In 90 minutes today. Okay. So that was
Yeah.
good. Yeah. That was good. Don't say Paul. Don't say right. I'm saying it to both of us, Nakab. Right.
Yeah.
Because it like I am trying to be understanding of myself as well, you know. On the other side, it does show exactly that I haven't thought about what I was going to say before I said it. Right. Annoying mug, right? Okay, working on it, working on it. Okay, so I am happy we're able to really talk on and expand every keyword and subject and category. It is not an easy thing to do. I've seen many people stumble with it. It's not always connected to language skills. It is definitely linked to what a person thinks about on a regular basis, right? And everything that happened before, a little bit of what's happening now, and definitely what's going to happen in the future. Okay, right. All right, yes, but those are going to be your most incredible strengths, just like talking about at the beginning, you know, where there's all of your micro details on what we discussed today and you can review. I would love to be able to share this with other people who take the test, if that's all right, you know,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of good tips inside, and it's a good approach to preparing for a speaking test where you're not sure exactly what they're going to ask you, right?
Okay.
Yes. Okay, cool. The other point that I'm going to make here is that you were really able to take and absorb all the different strategies, but remembering again, taking that time to take a deep breath, and you're not going to say but you're planning what you're starting to say, right?
Okay.
The second one there is you are really good at making conclusions when you remember to do it, right?
Yeah.
Just like me, you know, when you remember to make a conclusion, it sounds really great. Mm.
Okay. Okay, my dog is coming.
Oh,
Sorry.
all right.
Kiki, come on. Kiki, come.
But
Kiki, come in.
he wants to be part of it.
Okay. Yeah, she wants to be part of it.
Yeah.
Say hi to her.
Oh my God, it's a beagle. No way, I forgot that detail. Oh my God, that's one of my favorite.
Yeah, I think you made a sugar which is a Pomeranian, but this one is the most troublemaker in my house. To
Wow.
stop biting.
The beagles are very smart and naughty, right?
Yeah.
They're hunters, and so you got to train them. Oh my God, look at him. Oh my God, he wants to play. Okay, all right. The last thing I'll say, right? The last thing I needed to say here is you have an incredible sense of empathy that enables you to expand on key topics like preferences and society, as well as relationships. those were, if I mentally review the answers today, right? Those were some of the best ones. Cool. So focus on your strengths. Yes, yes. All right.
Okay.
I have another session with you in the next few days. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a Wednesday, and yeah, it's done with Wednesday. But I think we should sort up, Kiki. Sorry,
It's okay.
Kiki, stop barking. Okay, look